Let's dive right in. Grab your favorite mug of hot Gatorade and let's do this. Denshattack. PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch 2. Also known as the inside of your veins when you mix cocaine, acid, and Red Bull and then fall asleep while your train-set nephew starts talking. But Denshattack was easier to trademark because that name was already taken by a coffee shop in Bosnia. It's actually more lovely in Bosnian. It doesn't really translate. Anyway, the game sort of defies explanation, but basically you're doing skateboarding tricks with trains in a dystopian version of Japan, where you need to prove yourself as the bestest, most legendary driver ever. Take to the tracks from farmland to metropolis, Kyushu to Tokyo, outrace your rivals, and oust the evil megacorp to bring, insanity back to the world, I guess. Ascend to Zero is cleared for landing on PC and Xbox this week. In this definitely not OSHA-compliant anime romp, you will tear through cosmic voids, dodge enemy fire like you're avoiding your landlord on the second day of the month, and try to look heroic and stuff while your ship is seconds away from becoming space dust. With tense missions, jaw-dropping visuals, and enough bullets to make other shooters look like they are using super soakers, Ascend to Zero delivers a time-freezing roguelike packed with upgradable stats, an absurd arsenal, and more attitude than a disgruntled McDonald's employee at 2 in the morning. Grab it for yourself on the 13th. Imperial Ambitions, PC. Imperial Ambitions is next on the docket, an ambitious, yes, indie release marching proudly onto Steam. Much like real life, you will want to avoid the tax collector at all costs as you build cities, raise epic armies, and micromanage peasants who are almost certainly making below minimum wage. Every decision matters and could spark the next full-blown assault, so choose wisely, juggle your resources like you juggle balls, and figure out who's eligible for workers' comp. You can dive into the chaos yourself on the 13th. Pixplorer, PC. Pack up your pixels because you're gonna need every last one where we're heading next. Pixplorer is arriving on Steam, a cozy quest where your biggest threat is remembering which tool you mapped to which button. It gets harder as you get older. Unlike juggling balls, explore vibrant homes, gather resources, and craft your way towards becoming the ultimate explorer. Meet furry and not as furry friends, solve a variety of clever puzzles, and build gadgets that even Batman would raise an eyebrow at. With its warm vibes and charming aesthetics, Pixplorer makes for a perfect few evenings by the fire. Or, more likely, in the air conditioning if you live, on Earth, where all of it is hot right now. Neko Station, PC. All aboard, pussies! Neko Station is pulling up to the platform with cats in tow. Cats, bringing all the adorable chaos of train management to the cozy gaming idol community. Run your own station alongside fuzzy friends who aren't into the whole personal space thing, as you manage schedules and complete various cat-themed tasks. Get ready to bury your red-eyed, stuffy-nosed face right in there. I don't care how allergic you are. This drops on the 13th. Soulforge Lost Path, PC. Your soul is mine. What, not a Mortal Kombat fan? Well, that's fine. No prior fatalities required to enjoy Soulforge Lost Path, dropping on the 13th. You are a hunter of souls in this pixelated RPG that blends roguelike chaos with inventory management. There's loot to grab, battles to survive, extraction to extract, weapon forging to, and plenty more lurking in the shadows. Playing as Matilda, not that one, you'll fight to save the world from corruption, much like, every other video game. See just how long you can survive in this grim, beautifully crafted realm. Kaz, PC. Prepare your thumbs for an action-packed, grid-based arcade romp. This is Kaz. Rhythm fans will find plenty to love as you slash and tap your way through musical tracks, unlocking new challenges and trying not to panic when everything lights up like a disco ball. With tons of visual themes to earn and a score-chasing loop that pushes your skills to the brink, Kaz keeps things simple to learn with its 4-button setup, but is surprisingly tough to master. With almost 150 quests waiting to be conquered, something tells me you're going to be here for a while. The Incident at Galley House, PC, Mac, and Linux. Keep your wits about you for this next release, and please make sure your undies are fresh. We're gonna check, because we want the Incident at Galley House to be the only incident you experience during gameplay. Crawling onto Steam from somewhere under the floorboards, this creepy indie sends you exploring a spooky manor that almost certainly failed its last safety inspection, but is still somehow charging $2,000 a month. Tackle haunting puzzles, uncover the strange and unsettling history of the estate, and soak in atmospheric visuals thick enough to slice with a knife. If you're ready for tension, mystery, and maybe a few involuntary squeaks, Galley House has you covered. Celestial Return, PC. The Steam description for this next game reads, loot, bribe, gamble, and survive. And frankly, that could describe my 3rd grade parent-teacher conference. Celestial Return rolls onto the scene this week as a dice-driven, story-rich RPG with cosmic vibes and a gorgeous comic book-style art. Every roll could be your last as you unravel a dark mystery through the eyes of a weary detective who's seen way too many dead people. Explore strange realms, interrogate celestial beings, and pray your luck doesn't bail on you mid-conversation. If you're ready to tempt fate, poke at the unknown, and gamble with forces way above your pay grade, Celestial Return arrives on the 14th. Taival, PC. A voxel world full of fantasy creatures is the backdrop for this next cozy adventure as we take a little look-see at Taival, or Taival, a stunning handcrafted adventure that you can play alone or with your bestie on the couch or online with up to 3 buddies. You'll explore this world with the help of your shape-shifting Henki companion who, much like that pink lad with the big mouth, absorbs the essence of goobers and shifts into their form, using their powers and looking so stinking cute while doing it. Hop into this colorful world full of fantasy wonder when Taival launches exclusively on PC on the 14th. D-topia, PC, PS5, Xbox, Switch, and Switch 2. I know in my heart of hearts that this next game isn't pronounced like Milady, but whenever I read D-topia, that's how it comes out in my head. D-topia is a gentle puzzle adventure set in a sci-fi world where AI is being used to maximize happiness, as opposed to now where it maximizes sadness and frustration. As the newest employee in D-topia, your job is to keep the mechanical issues to a minimum and keep the facilities running smoothly. And in order to do so, you'll solve logic-based puzzles that are scattered around the environment just waiting for you to scratch your head to. The Crimson Maid, PC, PS5, and Xbox. This first-person whodunit plays like a visual novel and promises to weave together romance, murder, and the supernatural in a way that promises to get you hot, bothered, and hot and bothered. You play as Marius, a man training to become a priest, and he has to return home to his upper-class family after receiving news that his father is not doing so well. Greeting him once he arrives is an alluring young maid named Irina, who will definitely not complicate things once people start dying, I'm sure. Once the inevitable murder happens, you'll have a whole estate to scour for clues, and an eccentric cast of characters to probe for the truth. It's a neat spin on the genre, having a man of the cloth be the one to ferret out a killer and toy with temptation. Between that and the inevitable themes of class dynamics, this game looks to have a lot on its mind. Channel your inner Agatha Christie when this drops on the 14th. Urban Strife, PC. If I started talking about a post-apocalyptic zombie thing with a main character who flees Atlanta, Georgia, what would come to mind first? Now, if you thought The Walking Dead, then how dare you? Because obviously, you should have thought Urban Strife. The game opens up 2 years into a delightful zombie pandemic, and humanity has reverted back to its good old tribal ways. At least there's no data centers. Needless to say, this will not be a particularly cozy survival RPG. Plan your hits, time your moves, and calculate your movements, or you'll, get eaten in the most horrific ways. If you survive your excursions into the wasteland overrun by gangs, cultists, and the undead, you'll have a survivor's shelter that heavily depends on you for management to come back to. This drops on the 14th. Rock Bottom, PC. Say what you will about terrible working conditions and black lung, but old school mining had to be amazing for mental health, right? Now that's my takeaway from this entry at least. Rock Bottom looks to be a casual, incremental game where the point is to plop your brain into a rhythmic groove. Mining, smelting, upgrading, mining, smelting, upgrading, mining, and whatever. Until you've left all your troubles standing on the curb in the rear view mirror. The Mound, Omen of Cthulu. PC, PS5, and Xbox. This might be a niche thing to gripe about, but so many 4-player extraction survival games are too zany or glib too goddamn always for my tastes. I like a good fun time with friends, but I could also use some stakes that don't come with smirks. Well, the great old one heard my calls and gave unto his servant this little number. The Mound is a co-op adventure heavily inspired by the unsettling mind of H.P. Lovecraft. Explore the dreaded cursed jungle with 3 of your friends, or acquaintances you barely know, for treasure that will come at great cost. What threats will you face? Well, judging by the type of cosmic horror that comes with the Lovecraftian genre, I'm sure you'll wish it was as simple as dinosaurs or giant gorillas before too long. Keep your madness in check and don't trust your eyes when this drops on the 15th. Forensics, Crime Scene Detective, PC, PS5, and Xbox. Gumshoes! No, this isn't a Carmen Sandiego game, I just had a great idea for Footlocker. Anyway, there are crimes to solve in Forensics Crime Scene Detective sneaking onto Steam, PS5, and Xbox on the 13th. You'll sift through questionable smells, vomit, blood, and everything in between you don't want to know about as you piece together clues to catch the big bad. Every crime scene looks like somebody rage quit cleaning their apartment, and you'll interrogate suspicious people doing suspicious things at extremely suspicious times. Rely on real-world forensic techniques and remind yourself that Mondays could always be worse. Requiem of Reunis, PC. A terrible calamity crushed the old world into dust. What was it exactly? Well, it's hard to know. You see, the church has forbidden any discussion about it. It's untouchable taboo for the church. Like butt stuff. But stuff you'll be exploring in the game is related to that mysterious history they don't want you to know about. As a young noble named Tasia, you and your companions will journey through forgotten ruins, planning your routes, managing your resources, and staying alive long enough to make it to the next day. It's within this daily cycle that you'll take your gathered resources and craft things to help you get further and further. This drops on the 15th. Cozy Grove Camp Spirit PC release. Time to grab a stick, roast a marshmallow, and snuggle up with your favorite plushie because Cozy Grove is back, now debuting on Steam after its short stint on mobile. Summer camp is a little dead this year as you try to coexist with an island full of ghosts who have more baggage than your divorced uncle who takes way too many selfies. Help your spectral campers with resource management, crafting, and cozy conversations in this adorable indie from Spryfox that'll keep you so relaxed you'll delay checking your credit card statement for at least a few more hours. You can do it! Flash and Die PC. I appreciate how horror has steadily been breaking down what scares people into simpler components over the years. Now, first it was just fear of aliens and monsters, and then demons and ghosts, and then it was other people, and now it's being by yourself in a house at night. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mean to be reductive, but that actually is freaky. I don't walk up dark basement stairs at night, I run. Flash and Die puts you in the shoes of a photographer who takes home listing photos at night. It's what their real estate agency specifically offers. Why? Well, I'm sure you'll find out, but in the meantime, you'll need to keep your cool and complete your shot list while each house gets more and more, unsettling. This drops on the 15th. Teeto PC. Shadow corruption threatens the world in this charming platformer that looks to claim the spiritual successor mantle to Banjo-Kazooie. Take control of buddies Teeto and Nori and save the world, alone or with a friend in split screen. While you're fighting the corruption, don't forget to collect all of the Michaels. Evidently, that debacle started with an experiment gone awry, and that saw one Michael duplicate again and again until they overran the world. Is it a nod to Multiplicity starring Michael Keaton? I wouldn't presume to say yes, but I'm gonna say I choose to believe so. Between a vibrant, fun world full of colorful characters and a whole assortment of customization options for your dynamic duo, this looks to be a good way to wait out the summer heat. This drops on the 15th. A game about chopping trees. PC. Now, I legit just read a news story that raised my blood pressure before writing this entry, and I thought, boy, games like this are onto something. There's really no hidden gameplay loop here. I mean, the description is in the title, so relax and enter a meditative state. Chop down trees, plant saplings, and then hop onto your trusty handcart and do it over again. Nothing out there is trying to kill you, there's no curse to break or mystery to unravel, it's just you, your axe, and the next tree. Apparently, deforestation is more chill than we thought. Wabisabi SushiDerby. PC. You've heard of a sushi train, but I want to introduce you to the next viral raw fish sensation, the Wabisabi SushiDerby, the world's first sushi racer. This fast-paced, adorable... This is a tongue twister. This fast-paced, adorable sushi racer is all about crafting not just the tastiest morsels of rice and fish, but also the speediest, as with every unique topping you add to your sushi, the more it'll change, and how quickly your little guy goes. Enter your little dude into the championship races to take the top spot, but don't forget to cheer them on, or they might give up, lie down, and become someone's dinner. This game skids onto PC on the 15th. The spirit is overtaking me again, bestowing upon me a message from our sponsor, praise be. Infinity HexaDome Tactics, coming September 10th. Check it out on Steam and wishlist it. Do it now. It's a super duper fast-paced 1v1 turn-based tactical arena game that takes place in the Infinity franchise. If you're not already a fan of this prolific franchise, this is a great time to get on board. Build an ultimate team of champions of Ultimate Destiny and go head-to-head in the HexaDome, a sci-fi sports extravaganza where every single move, ability, and decision can turn the tide in anyone's favor at any time. It's heavily inspired by Aristea, the board game, if you're familiar. Maybe pick that up right now while you wait for this game, for research. If you need some comparisons, think XCOM, Atlas Reactor, Blood Bowl, that kind of stuff, and that's all in the best way. HexaDome sits firmly in a pretty satisfying space that rewards smart thinking and clever tactics rather than raw reaction speed. Use that noggin to win, not your reflexes. We've got the links for the game's Steam page and Discord in the description below. If you want a sick, fast-paced tactical challenger to prove you're smarter than everyone else, click on the link and wishlist it right now. And clear your schedule on September 10th. And be sure to join the Discord and be part of a cool community that's also better than everyone else. When it comes to the arena, first one in, last one out gets all the honor. Praise be our sponsor. May Infinity HexaDome Tactics forever eat the sun and drink the sky. On to the list.
A sci-fi franchise with a 20-year history and hundreds of thousands of fans worldwide.
Ragnarök, The New World. PC and Android. If you fancy a new, or I guess old, MMORPG to spend hours upon hours grinding levels to be the very best, then the cutesy-looking Ragnarök The New World may just be the open-world adventure you've been waiting for. A totally new game in the Ragnarök Online series following on from the 2002 original. You can choose up to 7 classes, all equally childlike in stature, and explore the colorful world of Midgard. You can fight it out, or simply fall in love with whoever you have a little crush on, much like in real life, if we all looked like animated children. Ragnarök The New World comes to PC and Android on the 15th. The Guild, Europa 1410, PC. Medieval Europe, you may not be aware, was famously filthy, stinky, and covered in rats, so of course we all want to experience that wonderful point in history, but luckily now we can all do that without the risk of getting the plague by playing The Guild, Europa 1410. The sim game allows you to forge your own path to power, choosing a trade to master or focusing on politics and intrigue to get to the top through more nefarious means. You can also just kidnap, rob, or ransom the locals if you'd like to. Your future is entirely up to you, just stay away from those filthy little rats. This game launches on PC on the 16th. Dead Weight, PC. Also my nickname in gym class. Dead Weight sees you and your cohorts moseying around in your trusty flying ship, exploring floating islands, finding cool stuff, and, taking on ancient gods and pursuing forbidden knowledge. Nothing too fancy. As you master the claustrophobic turn-based combat, you'll gather upgrades for yourself, your crew, and your ship. If you're in the mood to lose yourself in a richly imaginative world, I think your wishlist has found its match. This drops on the 16th. Moss, The Forgotten Relic. PC, PS5, Xbox, Switch, and Switch 2. You just might recognize this handsome little mouse from a series of VR games that launched a few years back, but now our little pal Moss is back in a format we flat gamers can enjoy. The game tells a storybook tale of both the original Moss games, featuring environmental puzzles, hidden secrets, and a beautiful world reclaimed by nature. Help this tiny mouse save his home, but this time without the fun motion sickness and heavy VR headset. This drops on the 16th. Pathogenic. PC, Mac, and Linux. We've pretty much all gone through some form of virus or disease in our lifetimes. One quite famously huge one comes to mind. But what if we were the thing causing such diseases? Well, In Pathogenic, you control a lone pathogen on a mission to spread disease all over some poor human's body. In this roguelike shooter, you'll collect organelles to get bigger and stronger and take out those pesky white blood cells that threaten your existence. In case the game doesn't mention it, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Stock up on NyQuil when this drops on the 16th. The Mermaid Mask, PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch. A murder in a locked room. No way for the killer to have gotten in or out. A classic murder mystery conundrum, and now it's up to Detective Grimoire and Sally to tackle this age-old challenge. The Mermaid Mask's creators are responsible for Crow Country and Tangle Tower, so we know we're in for another incredible point-and-click adventure with this one. You'll need to have all your wits about you, and I'm sure a tangerine or two to avoid scurvy when this drops on the 16th. Happy's Humble Burgatory, PC. As someone who has worked in the fast food industry, I can tell you from experience that it is a true nightmare. And I didn't have a terrifying monster chasing me or a bunch of customers who may go feral at any moment. Well, actually, that second one's not too far off. I did have a pretty monstrous boss, so maybe Happy's Humble Burgatory actually is not that far off from real life. This 1 to 4 player horror cooking game requires you to cook and serve burgers to customers to make enough money to meet your quota, but fail, an asset Joy breaks containment and she is hungry for something, and it's not the food. Help your teammates escape or run away with all the cash when you clock in for your shift when this hits PC on the 16th. Or Factory Squad, PC. Another trade you and your pals could get into if cooking is not your thing is mining, as Ore Factory Squad is also launching on the 16th. And it puts you and up to 3 players in the muddied boots of miners who must dig out ore, send it up to the factory, and upgrade your factory to make more production quicker and easier. Each property you buy has different procedurally generated mines to get fracking into, and you'll find yourself covered in filth and rolling in cash to upgrade your factory and equipment. Or maybe just buy yourself some new clothes. Even miners want to look cutesy sometimes. Welcome to the game 3, PC. Now this is what young me thought would happen if I accidentally downloaded a virus on the family computer. You play as a fellow named Simon who, through a series of unfortunate decisions, has found himself in a bit of a predicament. He has one night to solve a puzzle while navigating the dangers of the dark web and the real world. Puzzle solving is hard enough for me on a good day, let alone when randos of all stripes are literally roaming around trying to kill me. Leverage the dark web for yourself, buying and selling goods and services to very nice folks, and then push back on hacking attempts and mount attacks of your own. Again, while hiding from folks who quite literally want to murder you. It's like The Purge meets eBay. This drops on the 16th. Looking for Fael. PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch. I've often misplaced my keys or wallet in my apartment, but never a roommate. The game kicks off with you receiving a strange voicemail from yours. Something is not right with your living space, which becomes more and more clear as the laws of reality begin to break. Redefine what logic is with every puzzle and use the shifting environment to your advantage. Interestingly, each section seems to reveal bits of your roommate's personality, which is a heck of a way to get to know someone. I'm sure there are multiple narrative layers to be found here when this drops on the 16th. Heave Ho 2, PC, Switch, and Switch 2. A party game for people who think they have good communication skills online or in person. Use principles of momentum and inertia to fling your shiz to victory, working in tandem with your buddies, of course. It's not just a race to the finish line either. You'll work together to operate tools, drones, spaceships, ski lifts, whatever. take a shot each time someone messes up and I'm sure you'll be fine. This drops on the 16th. Blue Wyrm, PC. Apparently, Souls-likes are too straightforward for some people. This is what happens when Dark Souls picks the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. Step into the role of Gabriel, a red knight, as she journeys deeper and deeper into a psychedelic dungeon. There's not much by way of description here. The game is only roughly an hour long, which may be good if you've got like a job interview or a family event within the next week. Needless to say, avoid this one if you suffer from seizures. This drops on the 16th. Cheat Death, PC. In poker, you don't play your hand, you play your opponent in front of you. But what if your opponent is the Grim Reaper? Well, it sucks to be you. To be fair, this is dice poker, so, maybe you'll be fine. Use dice to build winning hands, manipulate the rules where you can, take advantage of special dice properties to turn losses into wins, and so on. When it comes to playing with death, don't be afraid to get dirty, especially when special mini-games like roulette, Wheel of Fortune, and other deadly surprises risk upending the game. This drops on the 16th. Diggin', PC. Play as a mole named Doug, who needs to, dig. Specifically, dig down deeper and deeper into a crater left by a meteorite. As you dig, you'll gather more stuff to upgrade your drill, so you can dig faster and through more stuff. It's a simple life. It's not all about just digging for materials, though. There's a mystery to be discovered. The fate of a strange, ancient race of moles that used to live where the crater now sits. Dig up the truth when this drops on the 16th. Culdcept Begins, Switch and Switch 2. The newest entry in the Culdcept series, which fuses card and board gaming. It's been 10 years, so fans are pretty giddy, I imagine. You play as a new student at the Royal Sept Academy, with rare abilities that land you in the Royal Regiment. A lot of royal stuff here. There seems to be a lot of lore to cover, but that's the gist of it. As you move around the board, you'll claim territories and cards, building the perfect deck for combat. There are over 400 unique cards, for those of you keeping track. Looking at it, if I had to dumb it down, I'd say it's like a mix between Monopoly and Yu-Gi-Oh! With some high fantasy thrown in there. This drops on the 16th. Kionli, the Vastscape Scroll, PC. I would argue that free-form expression is critical from time to time. Sometimes you need to be invited to let your creative juices flow unbounded in order to feel a little more fulfilled. This game does that. It's a hex tile building game that focuses on letting you follow your creative instincts. Create a wonderful, peaceful, and beautiful diorama with very few, if any, restrictions on placement. If you want to chase that high score, then go for it, but if not, it's no big deal. You win the game when you like what you've made. As you can see, the art direction is inspired by the Chinese landscape and its artistic history, which is gorgeous. And plus, don't forget, there are cats to be found. This drops on the 16th. Featherland, PC and Mac. I'm developing more and more of an appreciation for the idle genre for the simple fact that it accepts that most of us need these quick diversions, but that don't involve doom scrolling. Nurture your inner nature lover by hatching eggs and cultivating your flock made up of a variety of birds, including rare and extinct ones. The whole thing is meant to be soothing, but not lazy, involved, but not taxing. Whatever you're working on, let it be accompanied by ambient nature sounds and a calming music bed that'll help you concentrate on what needs doing. If you work from home and could use some company, use wallpaper mode to keep your feathered friends in frame. This drops on the 16th. Pimbalus, PC. Foosball is the devil. Desktop Explorer, PC. Alright, back up. Pimbalus is a party game, a local party game. You can get your friends together and pretend you're hanging out in the student center in college all over again, except with more chaos. You see, there are a healthy number of modifiers and ball types to play with. For example, giant balls that grow while they fly around, square balls that I assume don't roll as well, balls that are on fire, balls that explode, slippery balls, and it just goes from there. Crack open a beer and have a good time when this drops on the 16th. Desktop Explorer, PC and Mac. Old, unwiped computers are a fascinating thing to receive. They contain just so much about their former owner, it almost feels like perusing through their personal journal. Your dear old uncle has bestowed upon you his antiquated PC. If I had to guess, it looks like Windows 98. Incidentally, I actually think that was the creepiest one, and those who were there might know what I'm talking about. There's a letter in the files that sets a mystery in motion. Now, who used this computer before you? Because it wasn't just your uncle. Something is very wrong here. The game plays out like an old operating system, which you'll explore using file explorers, chat logs, applications, many of which are corrupted. The game's description specifically mentions nostalgic computer sounds, and I'm tempted to pick this game up just for that. Those who were there when these sacred texts were written may know what I'm talking about. This boots up on the 17th. Fog Piercer, PC, Mac, and Linux. One complaint I kind of commonly hear about with deck builders is that they feel too slow. How do you fix that? Well, high-speed trains and explosions. People love explosions. A deadly fog has descended on humanity, literally, and you are the only one who can put things right. You just have to get through hundreds of miles of bloodthirsty bandits. Luckily, your rampaging train has a few tricks up its sleeve, in the form of weapons and tools that make up your growing deck. Use tight strategy and almost clever tactics to stay ahead of your pursuers. Even use the landscape to your advantage. Each step along the way can come with its own modifiers that reshape the battlefield. Catch the train on the 17th. Database Detective, Minor Crimes Division, PC, Mac, and Linux. This sounds like a game that could actually pad out your resume. SQL is a programming language used in database management, and this game centers around it. Now, you are a newbie at the police department tasked with solving minor, very minor crimes right from your desk chair. How? Well, by taking case files and then combing through city databases to put the pieces together. Like, who littered in the park? Who checked out of their hotel room late? You know, that sort of pulse-pounding law and order stuff. Now, the game is meant to be an entry point for those unfamiliar with SQL, and it comes with a short introductory textbook of less than 20 pages. Now, for me, at first glance, nearly 20 pages doesn't hit me as overly brief, but hey, I'm sure it's shorter and cheaper than Coursera. Plus, there is a handy-dandy virtual assistant to help you through when you get stuck. Have at it when this drops on the 17th. Lured In, PC. There's something intrinsic between cozy games and inheriting things from grandfathers. Maybe it's something about revitalizing tired generations or showing that you can, in fact, make something for yourself. I don't know. Lured In sees you taking your grandpop's dilapidated aquarium off his hands and fixing it up better than ever. Where do aquariums get their fish? Well, according to this game, from the end of a fishing hook down by the river. Go out, catch fish, and either give them a new home or sell them off for profit right away. Upgrade your operation, squeeze your customers for profit like overblown pufferfish, and of course, keep the fish happy and presentable. This washes up on the 17th. Subway Builder Steam release. Now this game throws a bone to people who need to know where everybody is all the time. I'd argue that Subway Builder is less of a game and truly more of a simulator. Like, that's not just me, it describes itself as a hyper-realistic transit sim. You see, it takes real census data from around the US and UK and then generates a map-accurate living system for you to build your transit system around. We're talking millions of data points. Commuters have different incomes, schedules, routes, etc. With an entire city always on the move, how do you balance delays, route closures, detours, emergencies, all while fending off overcrowding and overscheduling? Now there's a swath of available cities to play, with more implied to be coming later. This arrives on the 17th. Woo, okay, so that's a good old plump, healthy list for you. Desktop Explorer gets the up nod from me this week. I am a sucker for old operating systems, and probably some mystery in there. What stood out to you? Leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. I've been Tricky Tom, and I'll see you again next week.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to help us continue to be able to bring a voice to the voiceless. Join the over 60,000 indie warriors that have said goodbye to the gaming echo chamber. For even more support, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames, where you can get Discord access, early shows, exclusive content, and more, now with a brand new $2 entry tier. Or check out YouTube memberships for exclusive badges, custom emoji, and other fun perks. Support real people making real things, because here at I Dream of Indie Games, it's always about the games.